Okay, so again, very warm welcome to the fourth session of BW for HANA 2.0 training. So we are continuing our journey on the native HANA modeling. Today is part 3. So this is what I intend to cover today, but let's see how much we can cover. So as you can see, we have a lot of ground to cover. So I would request you to hold on to your questions till the end, and then we'll have a dedicated session. Please be on mute till then. Maybe I'll give a couple of occasions, a couple of opportunities for you to ask questions in between, but let's not get too much distracted by all the questions. All right, so yesterday what we saw is we created the material dimension already, we created plant dimension, we saw how a table function based plant dimension works, we renamed the plant CV, okay, we saw how to rename, we saw how to copy, and we saw how to move. We didn't see how to copy actually. I showed you rename and move, but easily you can copy also. Even for copy, you cannot do it from repository. If you want to do a copy, you come to systems, go to content folder. So I'll minimize this, go to content folder, and then there is the CVs which we want to copy, say for example, right? So what you do is, I'll just do copy. There is a right click, and just above the refactor there is copy. And then if I want to paste it here, say for example in this particular package, in CalcView you right click and say paste. So when you say paste, it will ask you what is the name you want to give. Okay, so question to you guys. Can I give the same name, or do I need to change the name?
Can give the same name.
You can give the same name.
But wouldn't that be a duplicate CV name?
This package is different.
Exactly. So a CV name is fully qualified by the package name and the CV name. So you can have the name exactly same, provided it is there in a different package. Within the same package, you cannot have two objects with the same name, but in different packages, you can definitely have. Okay. So it says object copied successfully. So it is inactive right now. So you have to go and activate it. So you see the yellow, the gray diamond box here. So you just have to activate it here, and it will be activated. So complete successfully. So same CV name is there in both the packages, because the package is different. Okay, so we saw that. Today what we will do is we will continue with the cube type of a CV and cube with star join. So these two types of CVs we'll create, and then we will move on to procedures, access job scheduling, and we'll do some refresher also for the theory. Okay, let's jump to the system. Let's close this. Okay, so we have our package, structural package, Devanshu_BT2. We have calculus. We created the material dimension. We created plant dimension. We created the table function. Oh, this is not okay. Let me refresh this. It should not be there. Yeah, it's gone. Okay, so we have the material, plant, and table function. Now we'll create something called a cube CV, which is for transaction data. So you right click on the particular folder for CalcView and say new. And then we will see ZCV_sales. We will get the sales, and we will say fact. All the master data CVs we ended with _dim. Okay, except for the TF. TF does not have dim. We can also have TF_dim. That's possible. And all the transaction data one, we are ending with fact, so that we can easily identify from the naming convention itself. Okay. Logon language is German. Okay. So it's saying that the package language and logon language is different. So what I will do is I'll quickly change my logon language. The way you can do it is same thing, properties, go to additional property. And here I will change it to English United States.
So do we need to change this language every time, Devanshu? Like,
No. This is just automatically it will be set by the administrators or the basis team. You don't need to change it.
Okay.
I just changed it because I wanted to show the text join functionality. So that's why I'm changing it back. So then we'll go for calc view. Let's create again. Okay, so ZCV underscore sales underscore fact calculation view, and now it will keep it as standard. Will not copy. You can copy also from a particular calculation view if there is one, and you just want to copy it to start with. But we don't have it. We'll start a fresh graphical. We don't use SQL script. We'll use graphical, and the data category is now cube, not dimension. Now it is cube. With star join, I'm not choosing right now because we are not combining the master data and transaction data. When you do that, then you can go for a star join type of a CV. Otherwise, if it's just pure transaction data, we'll keep it as cube. Okay. You can see here it says, if you set the data category as cube, the default node is aggregation, not projection anymore. You can change the default node to star join by selecting the checkbox. If you check this, then the default node becomes star join. But other than that, if it is just cube, it will be aggregation node. So click on finish. So as you can see, we have semantics, of course, always the top node, but the second node is aggregation now. Why aggregation? Because we are talking about cube type of CV, and cube means we will deal with transaction data, which is called measures in HANA terminology. So we have dimensions and we have measures, which is nothing but your transaction data. And you have to have a measure. If you don't have a measure, then you cannot activate this CV. So that's why the top node is aggregation, because it assumes that you will have measures. Again, as a best practice, we'll go for a projection node to start with. We'll add the table. Sales, for sales, we have VBAP. It is STA underscore VBAP. There you go. In this particular schema, we have STA VBAP. We'll click on OK. And then we will choose MANDT, which is a client, which is required. We will choose the sales document number. We'll choose the item number. We will choose the material. What else we need? Material. We will choose the plant. We should have a plant here. So plant is WERKS. There you go. So we have plant. So these are the master data we need. Why we need this master data? Because we have to join. Eventually, we'll have to join with material dimension and plant dimension. So you need a common column, right? So that's why I added the material number and the plant number so that we can later join. And these are the sales document number and item number because every sales will have a sales document number, and how many items are there within that document. We want to check that as well. So it is the most granular data. So I'm taking the most granular data, sales document and item number. And then what is missing now are some transaction data fields. So unfortunately, we don't have description for these columns, and these column names are not very meaningful. You cannot make out what is ZMANG, what is ABGRU, what is SMANG. So if you want to check that, what we'll do is I'll quickly shift to my Eclipse, and there what I will do is I'll log into S4 HANA, okay, Control 6, which will open the SAP GUI. So in there, I will go to SE11, which is my table browser, okay, ABAP dictionary. Then I'll choose VBAP. Okay, click on display. It will open the native Eclipse editor. If you're comfortable with this native Eclipse editor, then you can work with this. Okay, you can find the technical names and you can find the description of every field here. Okay, so this is one way. If you're comfortable with native Eclipse editor, it's fine. You can find out the field name and the description. You can also find if there are some foreign key associations. You can find out if there's a unit field, if it's a currency field. But if you're not comfortable yet with the Eclipse editor, which we should be as soon as possible, but there is another way, like the traditional SE11 way. If you want to go there, you just click on this table and you say open with SAP GUI. So this is an option given to you to give you that familiar look and feel of SE11. Okay, because most people are still comfortable with that. They are transitioning to Eclipse gradually, not fully. So this option is there for you. So it will open that familiar SE11 look and feel. And then there you can find quantity. So I will look for, there's a field called KLMENG, I think. Yeah, KLMENG. This is a field which will give you cumulative confirmed quantity in base unit. And then you have the unit of measure also. So you can see the description. Why I came here is, the main reason is I can see the description of the columns here. Okay. Here, unfortunately, I don't have the descriptions, but here I have the descriptions. Usually you will have it. Okay. But if you don't have it here, then you can come back to the ABAP dictionary and you can check the description. So we will choose KLMENG. Okay. So we'll choose KLMEN. Just if I just highlight this and type. So we'll have KLMENG, which is my cumulative confirmed quantity. Now this is quantity without the unit. So I definitely need the unit also. Now there are two types of unit, sales unit and base unit. So because this cumulative confirmed quantity is in base unit, so I have to choose base unit, which is my means field. There. So base unit of measure. So now I know that this is base unit of measure. So I can just type in here. And this is my base unit of measure. So I got both the base unit of measure and the cumulative confirmed quantity, which is my transaction data. Okay. Now I'll just rename this projection node. It's always a good practice to rename it, so that if you use it in a join or somewhere union, you know that what this node represents. So VBAP, so we chose the client, we chose the sales document number, item number. In fact, this also, if you want to know VBELN, you can just type here VBELN. Okay, VBELN is the sales document number. Posner is your sales document item number. So with that, we'll just map it here to aggregation node. Okay, in the aggregation node, now what you have to do is see. First, let's add everything to output. Okay, add all to output. So I will go to semantics. In the semantics, right now type is blank, which will be populated if you just click save, Control S. So Control S automatically assigned the type of the field for individual fields what we added. Type means this blue box, rhombus box is your dimension, and the orange horizontal bar is your measure. So these are orange bar means your measure, and one measure is mandatory for you to activate a CV of type cube. So automatically HANA identified this as measure because of its data type. Because if you see the data type of this particular field is decimal 15.3, and the data type of all others are n-varchar. Okay, so based on the data type, it identified it that this might be a measure. Okay, sometimes it does mistakes also. So don't think that HANA is perfect. Sometimes it will do measure just because it's a decimal or just because it's integer. It will treat it as measure. If that is not correct, you can change it here. You can come here and you can say no, this is not measure. This is actually an attribute. So you can do that. Okay. So don't rely always on the automatic type assignment. It definitely needs a manual review. Okay, so everything is dimension. Let's see if I can activate this particular CV. Okay, Control F3 to activate. I have not deliberately, I did not keep any measure. So let's see if I can activate this. Okay, activation failed. Okay, completed with errors. Let's see what is the error. Double click on this. When you double click on this particular error, no measure defined in a reporting enabled view. Okay, so because it's a cube view, it definitely needs a measure. So what we'll do is we will go back to semantics and we'll change this type to measure. And also remember view properties, we have to change this to cross client. Okay, and anything else? Okay, now let's activate it. Okay, activation completed successfully. So now let me do a data preview to make sure that I'm able to see the data. So we can go to raw data to check. Okay, so data is coming. We have our client, we have the VBLN, we have the item number, material, plant, the unit, this is the base unit of measure, and then our cumulative confirmed quantity in base unit of measure. But sometimes what people want is that this 2 should not be just 2, kg should come beside 2. So they don't want to see separate columns for unit of measure and the quantity. They want the unit to be concatenated with a space, of course, in between with the actual quantity value. So just for the display purpose, okay. Suppose I mean people can have this kind of requirement, and to satisfy that requirement that you want to see 2 kgs, you want to see 1 EA. So the unit of measure should just be beside the value. If it's a requirement like that, how will I do that? Is there a way I can do that in a HANA CV?
Yes,
Anyone?
using semantic. Using semantic, we can do that.
Okay, how do you do that?
Not here. Go to the aggregation node.
Okay.
Here, just select the key figure column,
Okay.
and you can see semantic type.
Correct.
No, not this one. Select the below column. MEINS.
Okay.
Yeah. And now you go to the semantic
Semantic
type.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Browse
Okay.
it, and you will find here unit of measure something. Amount with, yeah, quantity with unit of measure.
So is this field represents quantity?
It's 2, right?
MEINS, what does it represent?
It represents the unit of measure, right?
Yes, it doesn't represent the quantity with unit of measure.
Okay.
It represents
then
unit of measure. Correct. So we have to first identify this as unit of measure. And then once we have identified this as unit of measure, then you can go into this particular field. Then you can say this is quantity with unit of measure. And once you do that, it will ask you, what is that field or what is that unit you want to assign? Okay. Then you, instead of fixed, go to column, and then it will show you the one which you have tagged as unit of measure, MEINS. Okay. And then you can say okay. And now it is semantic type is assigned as quantity with unit of measure with unit assigned as MEINS. You can also do this from semantics. Okay. It's not necessary that you have to go to aggregation node and do that. You can definitely do it in aggregation node, but you can also do it on semantics node. How you can do that? So if I just quickly remove this, okay, I'll just select blank, nothing, and I will also select means as where you go. Okay, by the way, this is the keep flag, what we spoke about. Okay, the keep flag and transparent filter are hand in hand. So you define it in the properties of a particular field. Okay, so I'll quickly remove this as well. Okay, now suppose I want to do it for multiple columns in one, I mean in one view, then you can go to columns here. I'll just minimize the left side. Now here also something is there which is called semantic type. Same thing, same functionality. So for the MEINS, which is the unit of measure, you define the semantic type as your unit of measure. Okay. And then you go to KLMENG, you can provide here quantity with unit of measure because this is a quantity. And what is the unit? It can be fixed. You can fix it to INR, EUR, USD. That's also possible, right? But if you want a column, if you already have a column which identifies the unit, then you can provide the column. You can check this box, show only column with the property unit of measure. Because we tag this as unit of measure, it is showing means. So you will select this. Now my question to you is, will it do the conversion, quantity conversion, will it do or not? So say for example, I want the conversion to happen everything to kgs. So will it happen with this particular configuration? So I'm not doing anything, I'm just providing quantity unit of measure and I'm giving the unit, that's all.
You have this
Yes,
checkbox down
conversion checkbox.
Yes, exactly. This does not mean, so don't get confused that you are doing conversion. You are not doing conversion until you check this conversion checkbox. Okay. What you are doing here with these two fields is you are telling HANA that these are related fields and show them beside each other. Show the unit beside the number. That's all you are doing. So I can now hide my means. Let's see if that works. And let's see if it shows just beside the number. Not sure if hiding will do it, but let's try. So let's go to data preview. Okay, go to raw data. Okay, hiding is not doing it. Let me unhide it and try. I'll unhide this, activate it. Okay, activation completed successfully. Let's check that. Yes, it did. I'll close this. In fact, I'll close the entire thing and let's open it again, just so that there is no refresh issue. So we'll click on refresh, and then we'll do the sales fact. Again, we'll open it. All right, so let's click on data preview. Okay, so you see now 2 kgs. Now it is concatenated. Basically, with those two fields, what you did is you said that in the data preview, you just concatenate and show them beside each other. I just don't want to see the numbers. I actually want to see the unit also with the number. So that's what you did. Let me now try, one second, let me try to hide that. And because now I have two columns, one is showing kg and one is showing the number with kg. So if I hide this and activate again, let's do the data preview. Okay, let me see if activation completed successfully. Yes, it did. So we'll quickly do the data preview. No, hiding it is actually hiding the functionality also. So let's unhide it and activate. Okay. Now, if you want the conversion to happen, okay, then what you have to do is you have to click on that box, conversion. Once you click on that box, then it will ask you few things. So you have to have some tables for conversion. Those tables will have the conversion factors. So say for example, you want to change from liters to milliliters or from kg to pound. So you have to have a factor. You should know that I have to divide or multiply by what number to get the output unit. those factors will be defined and stored in a table. You should have some tables which should have the conversions already conversion factors defined, decimal shifts, conversion factors. So there are a bunch of tables, okay? They are called Ticker tables for currency conversion. For quantity conversions, there are different tables. So those tables should be there in a particular schema. Once you have those tables ready, the data is ready. That means the source unit is there, the target unit is there, and the conversion factor is also there. Once those tables are ready, then you have to provide that schema name where those tables are housed. Okay, unit schemas, other schemas. So here it will identify it that those like currency schema, if the currency tables. So it will identify those Ticker tables and the unit conversion tables. And if you have those tables, then you can select the schemas for currency or unit conversion. Once you select that schema, then it will ask you the client number. If you have a client number in your particular table, then you select the client number MANDT. Okay, it needs a client number. Then it needs a source unit. What is my source unit? Source unit is my unit of measurement column. And target unit, if you want to keep it fixed, then you can keep it fixed. If you want it to be dynamic, then either you can have column. You should already have a column in your CV which should tell that this is the target, or you can also have input parameters, meaning you provide user the ability to tell that at runtime user wants to see kgs, or user wants to see each, or user wants to see some other unit. So it is dynamic based on user input. You can do that. Dynamic based on a column in your particular CV, or fixed. If you want to keep it fixed, then you can keep it fixed. So those are different options for your target unit. So say for example, we provide here fixed, and fixed I want kg. Where is my kg? Or maybe each. Okay, I'll just say each. That is my generate result column. Do you want a separate column to be added to your calculation view, which will give you the unit column, the result unit column? If you don't want that, that's fine. If you want it, then you can, by default it is activated. And if the conversion cannot happen, like the factors are not found, for example, in the backend tables, or there is some issue during the conversion, then what is the behavior you want? You want the conversion to fail and there is an error message when you execute the CV, or do you want to set it to null? That means wherever the conversion is not possible, you will set it to null, or you want to ignore. Ignore means the same value will be pasted to the target also, because the conversion will not happen, so the value will stay as it is. So those are the different options upon failure of conversion. Okay, and the failure can be based on many reasons. It can be based on factors not found. It can be based on some other thing like table or something not found. So there can be multiple reasons, but upon failure, what you want, you can put it. You can put it as ignore also, so that the CV will not fail. At least for ignore and null, CV will not fail. For failure, CV will fail if there is no conversion happening. So you can do that as well. Okay. Let's activate this. Okay, it was successful, and you can do a data preview. So you will see here that KLMENG is each. Okay, and we did. I think the conversion happened based on the tables which is there in that SAP HANA DB in the unit conversion tables. If you want to check the details of those tables, I can give you the list of those tables. Right now, I don't have it handy, but there are a specific default standard tables which will have unit conversion. For currency, I remember it is Ticker X, Ticker T, Ticker F. For unit conversion, I forgot what tables are there, but I can let you know. If somebody knows it, remembers it offhand, please let us know.
It is a T006.
T006. Okay. So in the catalog, you can go to SAP HANA DB, okay, and there you will go to tables. So it all starts with T. So those are the T tables. You will find it T006. Yeah, I think T06 and T06U or something. There are different tables with T06 also. Yeah, so these are the unit conversion. T06, A, B, C, D. There are different tables. Okay. These are used for unit conversions, and for currency conversions, you can have ticker. These are the tables for currency conversion: ticker C, ticker F. One is decimal shift, one will give you the exchange rates, etc. So these are different tables. So these tables, you should have it ready, and you should have it in a particular schema. It can be the same schema which is your BW owned schema. You brought them, from your S4. So these are usually these are populated from S4 or ECC if you have them. If you don't have S4 or ECC, then you have to extract them from some place like your old ECC, or you have to work with some users to get their values, and then you can create a table here in the schema, ticker C, ticker F, all those, and then you can provide that. But this is a prerequisite. You have to have a schema and you have to have tables, and data should be populated for them. So this is how you will do conversions, your currency conversion or unit conversion in SAP HANA. But until you check that box, you are not saying that I want conversion. You're just saying that I want this to be appearing beside each other. That's all. Okay, so our cube is ready. Now we will go for, so our master data is ready, material dimension is there, plant table function is there, and now we have our sales fact is there. So transaction data is ready and master data is ready. Now we have to combine them together. Okay. So the way we combine them is basically two ways. One way is that you click on new calculation view. Okay. I'll just name it ZCV underscore sales. Okay. No dimension, no fact, because we are combining. So we'll just keep it ZCV sales. You can keep graphical, everything is fine. You can keep it as cube without the star join. Okay, you can do that. So this is called a regular CV, a regular ladder based CV. I call it ladder CV because it's one after the other, like node by node, not a star join. You can have this also. Okay, and here in the projection, you will first do your this CV, sales fact. So drag that CV here in the projection, and then we will rename it as sales. Sorry, sales fact. And then you will have a join node. You will first join it with your material dimension. So you can, drag in a projection node again. And then you can drag a material dimension here, put it on the projection node. Okay, rename this to material. And then you can join it. So drag this one, drag the material to the join, and in the join, so first you have to select the fields here. So we'll select everything from here. Okay, we want everything, add all to output. And then we have from material, we will also select everything, add all to output. Okay, now in the join, what we'll do is we will create a join. So right click, create join, and the left table is your sales fact, right table is your material. See, this is where naming convention keeps things in perspective. Then you do MANDT to MANDT, and then your material number to your material number, because material number is the key for the material dimension. And I will change this to left outer join because I want everything from the transaction data, and whatever is matching in the master data. Cardinality, I'll leave it as blank. No, I don't want dynamic join, so I'll click on OK. Okay, so this is ready. So I'll just quickly do auto layout. Okay, so now my join is there. So you can combine, I mean, you can join it to the aggregation. Okay, and then do an auto layout, which will tidy things up. Now in the join, I have to select the output. I did not select anything in the output. So I need everything from the sales fact, add all to output, and I don't need everything from here. I need mtart, I need matkl, and I need the language, I need the maktx, which is the description. I don't, in fact, I don't need the language also. You can leave the language out of the output if you want. But if you want to see which language got filtered, then you can check the language as well. And then in the aggregation, you can just say add all to output again. Okay, maybe we don't need mandt. At the final output, we don't need mandt. We definitely need mandt for the joins. So you can remove it if you want. The way to remove it is you can remove it from here, or you can click on this orange box also, which will also remove it. So final output, I don't need the client to be shown there. And then these guys, KLMENG and KLMENG unit, these are basically my measures. So again, you can right click and you can say convert to aggregated column. Right now, they are showing as regular column dimensions, right? But if you want to it to be highlighted as measures, then you can say convert to aggregated column. So again, that orange horizontal bar will come, meaning it is a measure, and remaining things are your dimensions. Okay, then you can go to semantics, make sure everything is fine, just press Ctrl S, which will auto assign the type. This is aggregation sum. So by default, the aggregation is taken as sum, but there are other aggregations also. We have average, we have count, we have minimum, maximum, standard deviation, and sum is the default, and we have variance also. So there are different aggregation behaviors you can choose, but right now we are just sticking with the standard, which is your sum. And KLMENG underscore unit, it made it as count, so we will change that. Okay, this is count max min. Maybe this is 1 second. Okay, so this is my n varchar. That's why it's not giving me. This is my unit. So then this is not the aggregated column. Okay, this is basically a unit which is n varchar 5. That's why when I changed it to aggregated, it kept count, because it's actually not a measure. So only possible aggregation behaviors for attribute, if you make it a measure type, is count, min, and max. That's why it's not taking sum. So what we can do is we can actually get rid of this, and we can add it back as a regular column. Okay, and put it back here. Control S. Yeah, because that is actually not the quantity. KLMENG is the quantity. That is the target unit. So remember, target unit, we kept it as each, EA. That's what it is. Rest all is fine. So you can, okay, view properties. We should not forget that. Session client to cross client. We'll do that, and we'll hit Control S, and then we'll activate. By the way, I'm doing all this in systems, but ideally I should be doing it in repositories, but that's fine. As long as it's calculation view, you can do it in both places. But when you talk about table functions, procedures, then you should do it in the repository.
Devanshu, wasn't the underscore unit field, wasn't that a concatenated field? So wouldn't you expect it to be doing sum?
Which one? This one? KLMNG unit?
Yeah, the last one. Wasn't that the concatenated field?
Hold on, let me see. Let's do a data preview on the ZCV sales. KLMEG unit is basically the unit for the target. Means is basically, see, your actual
okay.
column, your actual column is your KLMEG, which is your actually unit, and the target unit and the source unit are two different columns. So this is not the concatenated field.
Got it.
Yeah. And that's the reason it was not giving me sum. Okay. So this is one way to combine the transaction data and master data. Of course, there is material also, which we have to combine. So you can do another join here. Okay. You can bring a join here in between. It will say, yes, do you want to add a join? You'll say, yes, I want to add a join. Join is added. Now you bring in another projection node, and then you add, right click and say add if you can't see the plus symbol. And our table was, no, not table. Sorry. This is a CV, right? Planned fact CV, the table function CV. So we'll click here. We can drag it to our projection. We'll rename this. Okay, and then we will drag it and join it with the join node. So now material is done. Now we are joining the plant. So for plant, I need everything right now here at this particular node. In the join, again, I'll just minimize this. So in the join, what we'll do is we will again create join here, right click, create join. So we'll have join one and the plant. So MANDT to MANDT, and now WERKS to WERKS, because that is the primary field for the plant dimension. We'll change it to left auto join, cardinality blank, which is fine. Click on OK. So now my join with the plant is also done. So this is a table function based CV. And what we need from this is we need the plant description, we need the address number, we need the address description, we need the date from, and we need the date to. Okay. Now these I have not propagated all the way up, but what you can do is, if you want to propagate everything up with a newly added field, so you can say, you can select from the first field to the last field with a shift, and you can say propagate to semantic. That's an easier way to propagate all the way up to the top semantics node. If you don't want to go into individual nodes and select, then you can say propagate to semantics. The selected elements are propagated, which is good, which is what I want. Just go to aggregation, make sure it is there. Yes, it is there. It is not assigned a type. When the field is not assigned a type, you will see this vertical bar. But when the field is assigned, then you will see the blue rhombus. So you just press Ctrl S, automatically those will be assigned. Let's activate this. Okay, so it activated successfully or not. Let's check it. Okay, there is a failure in the activation. Let's see what is the failure. Okay, it says dependent information views might not been activated successfully. Okay, got it. Can somebody tell me what is the problem? Why did it fail?
The input parameter for plant date from date
Yes,
to not mapped.
not just plant, from material also. If you remember, we had an input parameter from material and we have an input parameter in the plant, right? So let's check the input parameter. Is it there in the material? You can right click on that CV symbol and you can open, that will open the CV. So we have one input parameter which is there. And is this mandatory? No, this is not mandatory, but still the input parameter should be there. Let's make it mandatory actually, and we'll click on OK. We'll activate this particular CV. Let's see if it is activated successfully. Oh, this is also completed with errors. Why? Oh, sorry, let me see. Okay. activation. What is it? Okay, so it could not activate the dependent CV. Okay, so this guy activated successfully, but the dependent CV was not able to activate, which is fine. We will activate it later on. So this particular CV is activated successfully. So we are good here. Now we will also see the plant quickly. The input parameter is mandatory or not. So you can open that CV, you go to input parameter variables, go to the definition, and this is already mandatory, so which is fine. So now we have two mandatory input parameters. Okay. And now what we'll do is we'll have to map it to the final CV. Basically, we have to make sure that those input parameters are propagated up to this particular transaction data CV as well. Why? Because if you don't do that, then you are not getting user input. And if you are not getting user input, then blank is being passed to those mandatory input parameters. And that is why it is failing, saying that there has to be some value which has to be passed. Those are mandatory input parameters. And you cannot pass a blank, it has to be a value, right? So that means this particular CV should also have those input parameters, and they should be mapped to the input parameters of these two CVs. So there are two ways to do that. First way is you create the input parameter again, one for the date and one for the material. You create them and then map them. But if there are multiple parameters, say for example, you have 10 CVs and all of them together have 50 input parameters, then you will not create 50 input parameters again. That's not an efficient way. So what we can do is, in the calculation view, SAP has given an option of propagating, just like we propagated the fields up all the way. Similarly, the input parameters can also be mapped from the underlying CV. You don't have to create them. So how do you map it? So you go here, input parameter manage mapping. Okay. And once you go there, you will see that there are two input parameters from the two CVs, underlying CVs. So what are those input parameter? Material and IP date. And those both are mandatory. We know that. So what you can do is, here it says auto map by name. So automatically what will happen is it will create the input parameter in the final CV with the same name as the underlying CV, and it will map them automatically to the corresponding input parameter. So that is a necessary step because those are mandatory input parameters. There's another way. Okay. If I just cancel this and go to manage mapping again, there's another way. You can say right click and you can say copy and map 1:1 or map by name. Okay, both are possible. So here you have to do one by one. You can say this also, or you can in one shot, if there are 50 input parameters here, you will just say auto map by name. All the input parameters with the same name will be created in the target, and you will say okay. And when you will say okay, you will see that input parameters have come here. Okay. So now we'll try to activate.
Devanshu, what if among those 50 input parameters, some are of the same name among different CVs?
Yeah, that's a good question. Then you can rename them. I think it's possible. So here you can rename them, and then you have to manually map them. So it's possible to manually map also, right? So say for example, I will remove all mappings. Okay, and the names are different. You don't want auto map by name. You know that IP material should go to IP date. Example, okay, wrong example, but just for the sake of argument, then you have to manually map them. Okay, if the name is not same on if you want. Also, there's another option you can have. Say for example, you have one date input parameter here, and there are 50 CVs with 50 date input parameter. You want everything to be mapped to only one date. So you will pass one date here, which will propagate down to 50 dates here. That's also possible. So you have to manually map them to the same input parameter. That's also possible. Okay. So if there is a reusability factor, that means the same date you want to pass down to the underlying CVs, then you can map it to the same input parameter, target input parameter also. Okay, let's activate. Let's see if there are any more errors. Activated, I hope successfully. Yes, completed successfully now. And let's check the data now. So we'll do a data preview. It will ask for the input parameter values now. So I'll quickly just say material, any material, and then date. We'll choose today's date or maybe 1st of August. That's fine. And we'll execute. We'll raw data. And the data is here. So now it has the transaction data, it has the master data. Wherever it did not find the master data values, it brought it as null. Okay, question mark means null. That means value not found because it's a left outer join. So if the value is not found, the null is assigned. And then all the other, whatever the KLMENG is there and everything else from the planned material is there. So this is one way to combine the transaction data and master data. This is called ladder CV. I call it, I mean, this is not from SAP terminology. I call it ladder CV because this is, you can say it mimics a ladder-like view. And this is one way. This is not star join. So there is no star join here. This is a simple joins. So this is multiple joins. Okay, join 1, then join 2. If you have more, then join 3, join 4, join 5, so on and so forth. Okay, you can go as long as you want. Now there is another way, which is called star join way. So let's quickly create that now. Okay, I'll maximize this. Some people prefer star join. Some people prefer ladder joins. That means join on join. Let's quickly now create another CV. Okay, by the way, I'll just check it out. You see, we cannot see the Z sales here. Z CV sales is not here, right? You cannot see it here. Why you cannot see it here? Because you created in systems, so it is there on server, but in your local copy version, it's not there. So when you check it out, you can check out this package. Okay, and then your ZCV sales fact came in and ZCV sales came in. That means they are now synchronized with the local copy. So now you can see ZCV sales here. Let's close this. Now we'll create another one. We'll say new calculation view and we'll call it ZCV. Oh, come on. Sorry. ZCV underscore sales underscore star join. Okay. We'll just call star. So ZCV star, so just to differentiate it with the ZCV sales. And now everything will remain same. We will check this box star join and we'll see what is the difference. So click on finish. Okay, so now the top node is a special node. This is not projection, this is not aggregation, this is star join node. So star join node basically allows you to do all the joins in one place. You don't have to do join 1, then join 2, then join 3. You don't need to do that. You do the join, all joins at one place, and the joins you can only do with a CV of type dimension. If you want to do join between tables, say for example, you want to add a table and do a join, that's not possible. If you want to join the master data, those master data should be a dimension calculation views. Then only you can add them in the star join node. Okay. So first thing is get a projection below the star join and add your transaction data, which is going to be your foundation. This is called foundation CV or foundation node. Here you can add a table. Okay. In this particular projection node, you can very well add a table. You can add a CV also, whatever you want. So here we will add our ZCV sales fact, which is our transaction data, pure transaction data. Okay, you can add it here, or you can add a table also. If I want to add VBAP directly here, I can do that. So I'll just rename this to sales. And now when you connect this to the star join node, this star join node here, okay, let's add the columns here. Okay, I'll add all to output and I'll do some renaming. So let's rename the MANDT to, say, for example, MANDT underscore sales. We'll rename Matner, I'll move it up, Matner to Matner underscore sales. And I will also rename WERKS, which is my plant, to WERKS underscore sales. Why I'm renaming it? Because in my master data, I also have MANDT, like the material dimension and the plant dimension. They have MANDT. Material dimension has Matner and plant dimension has WERKS. So same name is there. So just to differentiate between the fields coming from master data and the fields coming from transaction data, I have renamed them. Okay. So then when you add it here, go to star join, you will see that there is something in the orange. Orange means your foundation. This is your data foundation. So this will be at the center, like a star. In the star, it's basically the dimensions surround the fact. So that's why it's called star join, because it looks like a star in visualization. So in between there will be foundation. And now if you want to join, you will first let me add the VBLN, Posner, KLMENG, KLMG unit and means. Okay. And then I also add sales, Matner sales and work sales. Okay, I don't need MANDT in my final output, so I will leave it as it is. So this is the output from my transaction data. Now I need my master data. So I will right click and I'll say add. Okay. Now when you say add, if you type STA underscore VBAP, nothing will come up. If you type ST underscore Mara, nothing will come up. Why? Because you cannot add tables here in the star join. You have to add another calculation view. So we'll say ZCV underscore material underscore dimension. You can only add calculation views of type dimension in the star join. So where is our material dimension? This one, Z Devanshu BT2 calculation views. So we'll add this material dimension. Okay, there you go. By default, everything is already added. So you will have a folder for calculation views and a folder for columns in the output. Columns means the fields from the transaction data foundation, data foundation. And calculation view means whatever master data calculation views you are adding. Okay, so you can also leave the MANDT here, which will mark it as hidden. Okay, MANDT will not go from here, but it will be hidden here. So now what I will do is I will right click, same thing, create a join, and I will do the join with my left table as sales automatically chosen, right table as the material dimension. My MANDT sales goes to MANDT. My Matner goes to Matner. Okay, and my, yeah, that's it. That's all I need to do. So then we have left auto join, cardinality blank, click on OK. Okay, see, I did not choose the fields from the master data. It automatically adds all the fields from the master data CV. If you want to hide something, then you can hide it. But by default, everything will be added. So my first join is done. Then next I will do again a join. So first I have to add here. What we will add, ZCV underscore plant underscore TF. Okay. Z Devanshu BT2 calculation view. This is the one. So we have our second CV added. It will be on the right side. That's why you can't see it. So let's scroll right. There you go. So let's bring it here. a little bit just to bring it in the same window. Okay, so now we have this also added. Now we'll say right click, and again same thing, create join. Okay, there is some lag again in the VDI. Okay, so we'll say create join, left table says now the right table is not my material but my plant table function and base CV, and then same thing, MANDT to my MANDT, and my works now, no Matner now, WERKS to my WERKS. We'll do it here. Okay, it's again a left outer join. I want everything from the left side and I want only the matching data from the right side. Click on OK. Cardinality, we'll leave it as blank. See, the more complex the calculation views, the more difficult it is to identify cardinality, and that's why I always prefer it to leave it as blank. But see, if you keep the cardinality, performance wise it's better. Ideally it is recommended to provide cardinality, but to be safe, if you don't want it, you can leave it as blank. Here also MANDT I don't require, so I can just deselect the orange box, which will hide it. Again, it will not remove it, but it will just hide it. Okay, if you expand this CV, it is still there, but it is hidden now. So I want WRKS also I don't want, because WRKS is coming from my, let me see 1 second. Okay, it automatically, what it did was, because WRKS is selected from the master data, so it hid the works from the main. So if you only want the data to come from the right hand, the foundation, which is the transaction data, then you have to enable here and disable here. But by default behavior is it will add from the master data and it will remove or it will hide from the transaction data. But if you don't want that, say for example, I don't want works here, I want Matner here and works to come from the transaction data. And same thing here, I don't want Matner to come from this side, only from the left side. The remaining field I want. SPRAS also maybe I don't require, I'll remove SPRAS. And ADR, NR, yes, state from, yeah, everything else is fine. Now again, I did not do the parameter mapping yet. So first let me save it. Okay. Okay, it's suggesting that because MANDT is coming from both plant and from the material, so it is asking me to provide an alias name, although it is hidden, but still because there are two MANDT coming, that's why it is asking me to rename it, provide an alias, which is fine. I'll accept the alias, default alias. But if you rename this in the CV itself, okay, then you will not find this issue. But because it found MANDT and MANDT here, let me remove this MANDT. Okay, I don't need MANDT. Because it found two MANDTs, that's why it's asking for the alias to be there to differentiate between the two MANDTs. Okay, let's save it. And now what we'll do is we will do the input parameter mapping. So you'll go to semantics. You can do it from any node, by the way, but I generally prefer semantics. And there, I think, can we do it from here? Extract semantics will give, no, extract semantics does not have the input parameters. Okay, let me come here. Okay, so here I will do the manage mapping. And when I do the manage mapping, same thing will happen here. So I'll have two input parameters, one from the material, one from the plant. I'll just do auto map by name because I want the same name. And I will click on OK. Save it again. Okay, now we'll make sure everything is activated. So in the semantics node, you will see two divisions now in the semantics. Okay, usually this is not the case when it is a projection node or an aggregation node, but for star join, you will see two parts in the semantics. The top part will give you the local. The bottom part will give you the shared. Local means whatever is coming from the data foundation. Okay, whatever is locally created here. And the shared means all the master data dimension calculation views which you have added and which have been giving you the shared list of master data, meaning that this foundation is using or sharing the attributes from material dimension CV and your plant dimension CV. So that will be below. So right now it's show all, but if you just want to see the data from one of the CVs, then you can filter the data here and you can see that what fields are coming, what are hidden. So when you removed it, it was hidden here. And if you want to see everything, you can see everything. Type is all dimension here. And here we have one of the type, which is KLMENG as our measure. Here also you have attributes and measures. If you want to just see all the measures, this is handy when there are multiple measures and you just want to see what are the measures or just attributes, you can see them. But right now it's very few, so we'll keep it all of them. And then parameter variables, we have to the parameter variables. View properties, we'll quickly go and change it to cross client. Okay, and then we will try to activate it. Okay, so activation completed successfully. So now what we'll do is we will do a data preview quickly. And then same thing, it will ask for the material and the date. We'll quickly do that. One of the material, date we'll give today's date, that's fine. Excuse me. So raw data is coming perfectly fine. So basically what we did was we created a star join CV where we did not do a join. So you don't have a join after join after join. So ladder-like visualization is not there. So you will have the dimension CVs added just once. Okay. And the benefit of star join is that you don't, if you want the same CV to be joined multiple times, because many times there is a requirement that you have to join the same CV twice or thrice or 3 times or 4 times. In the ladder join, you have to do 3 or 4 joins to that with the same CV. But in the star join, you don't need to do that. You just add it once and you can join it multiple times with the dimension CV. So you don't need to have multiple joins created. That is a benefit with the star join. But the disadvantage with the star join is that debugging becomes difficult with star join. See, when you have this particular CV, which is ladder join, you can easily debug node by node. Okay, so if you have this CV, let's open that CV. I'll quickly show you what I'm talking about. So if you have this CV and if you have a problem, if you have a performance issue, or if you have a data which is getting doubled up or tripled, or it's exploding, you can actually check that at this level, what is the value, what is the data, at this level, what is the value, what is the data, so on and so forth. You can do debugging node by node in the ladder CV. But in the star join CV, because everything gets executed in one shot, in the back end, SAP is taking care of these joins. You're not controlling the sequence of this join first, then that join, then after that the second join. You're not controlling here. Okay, SAP code in the back end is controlling that. So that's why debugging becomes a little difficult for star join. And also I have seen that because of the multiple joins happening, there can be memory hogs or memory issues also with the star join. But definitely it has benefit of reusability. It has benefit of a star schema kind of a design, but it has its disadvantages also. So based on whatever you are comfortable with, whatever, if debugging is most important for you, you want the ability to do node by node, go for the ladder join CVs. Or if debugging is not that kind of important requirement, you want the reusability and you want a star schema design, you are more comfortable with that, then you can go for star join CVs. Both will solve your purpose. It's just the preference depending on different developers or different teams. Okay. All right, so we'll take few questions and then we'll go for a 10 minutes break, and then we'll come back and we'll continue with procedures and access job. Yeah, you guys have any questions so far?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yes,
I have
go
a
for it.
question like when you are doing this join, so when you are doing the join with master data table, so isn't it better that we go for a referential join than the outer join?
Why do you think referential join is better than the left outer?
The thing is like the referential join works as a foreign key and a primary key concept. So that gives you a better performance.
No, reference join is dangerous. Okay. If you ask me, reference join is dangerous. Why? Because reference join will act as inner join. If you select the data from the right hand side, referential join will immediately start acting as an inner join, and that will filter your data out. If you don't want the uncertainty of when it is going for an inner join, when it is changing to a left outer join, based on the cardinality also it changes the behavior, inner join versus left outer join. So if you know what you're doing, yes, go for referential join. It might be performance wise, it might be slightly better. But I don't prefer a referential join because I don't have control and I don't know what's going behind the scenes, and based on what data output it's going for inner join and filtering the data. So please be careful with referential join. I explained this very clearly in the join types in the last class. So I would request you to go through that. Okay, this one. So in last class I discussed, no, last class or last class, I think join types. So if you see that join types, referential join, I gave 3 scenarios. Okay, what are those 3 scenarios? Referential join, yeah, there. Referential join, if nothing is selected from the left side, from the right side, it is a left outer join.
Right.
If something is selected from the right side, it is an inner join. Suddenly it changes behavior. Okay.
Right.
And if there is a cardinality blank and nothing is selected from right side, still it is a left outer join. Oh, sorry, inner join. Again, these two will filter your data out. That means if it does not exist in both the tables, your data will be filtered. And then you might have inconsistencies. User will report that there is missing data. You will spend hours troubleshooting the issue. So I don't prefer referential join. Yes, performance wise, it might be faster, but for me, data consistency and the control, I know what I'm doing. I know that this left outer join will behave like this always. It will not change its behavior based on how you define your column in the output. That's why I don't prefer referential join.
And then one more question. Like I saw that a material in one place, it was showing in WordCat 40. So suppose, I mean, if we have say doing a view like material is 40 length coming from one source,
yes,
and from the other source, if material, suppose you have a BW, what to say, input over here, that will show you material of length 18. So while doing a join, will that be a problem?
Good question. So while doing a join, it will not be a problem as long as the actual value of the material is 18 always. Even though if it is NVARCHAR 40, the actual value stored is 18. Okay. If that is the case, then it will not have any problem. But if the actual value is more than 18 in one place with padded zeros,
right? I mean, that is what.
Yeah, and then that can have issues. Yes, you are 100% right. That can have issues both in union. What you have to make sure is whatever joint columns are there or union, they are of the same length. Now, HANA in the backend, it does some conversions by itself. Okay, even if you don't do it, HANA will attempt to do that in the backend. The length conversions and the unit conversions also, no, not unit, the data type conversion. The data type conversion and the length conversion happens automatically for join columns and union columns by HANA. So even if you forgot to do it, you can still be a little, you can take relief in the fact that HANA will do that for you, but don't rely on that fully always. You proactively make sure that the length is same. If it is not same, then create a calculated column and put the length as equal to the same length, whatever is the length coming from the other side, and then do the join. So you are 100% right. That is a best practice. You have to make sure length is same, especially for join columns.
Right. I mean, because I saw the sales table was having material to be length 40. So that's why it's just.
But don't worry.
Yeah.
See, if it is as a minor thing like 18 versus 40, right? With padded zeros for 40 and padded 0 for 18, that you can be sure that, or you can be like, you don't need to worry. HANA will take care of that. But as a best practice, please try to make them similar.
Consistent. Okay.
Consistent, exactly. Yeah, any other question?
So the input,
Yes, go ahead.
Is there a limit on the number of CVs that can be joined, star joined here?
That's a good question. I don't know. Maybe there is. I'm not aware of that. I have gone up to maximum of, I think, 8 or 9. But I don't know if there's a limit. I'm not sure. Sorry. I'll get back to you on that.
Hey, Divanshu, there was a screen lag. Actually, I couldn't see when, after doing a star join, you were mapping this input parameter. So where actually you did that?
Yeah.
I had a screen lag, I couldn't see that.
Yeah, sure. I'll show you. So in the star join node, okay, minimize the calculation view folder, minimize the columns folder. In the last, you will see something called input parameter folder. Okay.
Yeah.
It will not be expandable. Initially, it will be blank. So what you can do is you can right click on that blank folder and you can say manage mappings. The moment you click on manage mappings, then it will show you the data sources, the two of them. Click on auto map by name and then say okay. And then now after that, you will be able to see the input parameters here. I was trying to find it in the semantics because semantics also usually gives you that option, mapping of input parameter. So maybe you have to go here and click on here. It is the same thing, I think. You can do it either from the top node semantics, manage mapping, or you can also, you can go to the individual node. Even at the sales node also you can see input parameters and you can manage from any node. But usually I do it from semantics because that's where the input parameters are created.
Achha, one more question, like all these calculation views, for example, if you take SD or FI, do you have a standard calculation views wherein you like activate an entire from foundation to the target semantic, everything is activated, and further if you want to enhance something you can add?
Yeah, there is something called HANA Live. It is deprecated, by the way, no more used, especially if you have the ABAP layer. Then embedded analytics, which are CDS views, have replaced HANA Live. But if you purely have HANA database, no ABAP layer, then you can definitely activate something called standard calculation views. They belong to different functional areas, SD, FI, purchasing, inventory, etc. Right? They are called HANA Live VDM, virtual data models. So you have to download them. That it comes as a delivery unit from SAP support portal. Download that as a delivery unit, import that delivery unit in this particular in your HANA system, and that will give you all the calculation views, standard calculation views. But
you have to create one schema and import.
No. See, calculation views don't need schemas. Okay. You are not bringing tables. Okay. You are bringing CVs. Okay. CVs need packages. Okay? So that delivery unit automatically will create a package. Don't worry. Okay. But what you have to make sure is those CVs will assume that you have certain tables already provisioned in your HANA database. because eventually those CVs will be based on certain tables, right?
Right.
We'll
Right.
assume that you have standard table of FI already there. You have standard table of SD already there. You have standard table of purchasing, inventory, plant maintenance already there. Because you're not bringing tables, you are bringing CVs. And those CVs, if it does not find that table inside your HANA database in the schema, then you will have error when importing those delivery units, which is HANA Live DUs delivery unit. So step number 1, make sure you replicate all the tables, necessary tables, standard tables in your HANA database, and then you can download and import the HANA Live CVs, which are the standard CVs, and then you can use them.
But is it being used in live scenarios? This HANA
Oh
Live
yeah,
now?
absolutely.
Yeah.
But now they're deprecated because if you have SAP systems like ABAP layer, S4 HANA, ECC, BW, then HANA Live is deprecated. Then it is CDS views. So CDS views are now recommended, not HANA Live CVs. But if you don't have ABAP layer, then of course you have two choices, right? HANA CVs or HANA CDS views. I don't think SAP has given standard HANA CDS views for different applications. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there is something. But for calculation views, I am pretty sure there is something called HANA Live because I have used it personally. I have not used anything which gives standard HANA CDS views. I'm not aware. If somebody is aware, maybe they can add their inputs. But I personally have not used that. So I'm not aware if something like that is there for CDS views, HANA CDS views.
Okay.
I have one question on parameters, Devansh.
Yes.
Here.
Yes.
So we created variable, input parameters in material dimension,
Yes.
plant dimension using table functions, right?
Correct.
So is it something like we need to do at those dimensions itself, or can we do at transaction level also instead of doing at the dimension levels?
Oh, you mean can you define input parameters at a transaction CV?
Correct.
Absolutely. Why not? There is no stopping you from creating input parameters on transaction data CV. It's not dependent on dimension CV versus transaction CV. If you want to create here, say for example, right, you can definitely create it. So you can create input parameter variables. You can restrict it. Say for example, you want to restrict material group. Material group is, I think, MTART, maybe MTART. Okay, it's not here in VBAP. It's not there. But yeah, I mean, if you have any field based on which you want to restrict the data based on the user input, definitely you can create and restrict it. There's no stopping. In fact, you can create calculate columns and or filter expressions. Everything you can use input parameters there.
Okay.
Devanshu, I have got 3 questions. One
Three
is
questions. Wow. So are you going to take the entire remaining time, I guess? Okay, let's do this. It's already 10:10. Let's take a 5 minutes break now. I'm sorry I have to cut short on that because we have to cover some ground. So we'll take 5 minutes break. We'll come back at 10:15. I'm sorry, who was that? Who said 3 questions? May I know your name, please?
yeah, my name is Shuman.
Oh, Suman. Okay. So Suman, I apologize that I will not be able to take immediately, but if you can stay back after the class, definitely I'll try to answer your questions if I know the answer. But please understand, I have to complete the procedure and the excess job today. Otherwise, it will be dragged unnecessary. So let's take a 5 minutes break. Let's come back at 10:15. And then we'll continue with the main class. And after class, if you have any questions, please stay back. We'll discuss them. I'll pause the recording for now. Okay. Quick check. You can hear my voice okay? Screen you can see okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Okay. So we dealt with the cube CVs. We saw how to combine the cube and dimension both. There are 2 ways, ladder CVs or star join CVs. I personally prefer ladder CVs because of the debugging functionality, but many people, they prefer star CVs also. So it's your choice. There is no one is better than the other. Both can solve your purpose. Now we will go for procedures. So far we let's reiterate what we did. We created a remote source, smart data access remote source. Then we created virtual tables based on those smart data access remote source. Then we created staging tables based on the virtual tables, and we materialized the data in those staging tables. Then we created CVs of type dimension for master data, CVs of type cube for transaction data, and CVs of type cube with star join to combine the master data and transaction data. So our modeling is done. Now we have to take care of the data being loaded daily. Say for example, it can be weekly or hourly or every 6 hours also, depending on what frequency you need. But generally it is daily data loading. And for data loading in SAP HANA, native SAP HANA, for BW it's very easy. We have process chains, right? But you should know that in native HANA also how it is done. So the way it is done is, first you have to create a database procedure. Okay, so database procedure basically combines a bunch of SQL statements into one particular entity, and that entity you have to schedule via access jobs. Okay, so first we'll create a database procedure. So for procedure, do we have a package? No, we don't have a package. So let's create a package first. So we'll right click, we'll say new, we'll say repository package, and we'll say dot your SP. For table function is TF. SP stands for stored procedure. The full name is stored procedure, so we just call it SP. Click on next, English United States, which is fine, and click on finish. Okay, so now we have another package called stored procedure. Now we'll quickly create another stored procedure, which is new and other, and we'll have something called stored procedure. You can see on the screen just above the table function, we have something called stored procedure. So we'll click on that, click on next. Okay, now the name of the stored procedure. 1 second, guys. Just give me 1 second. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so I will give the name as SP underscore S04 H table materialization, and we'll click on tab, where the moment we click on tab, it adds the extension HDB procedure. Similarly, for the table function, we had HDB table function. So file format is HDB procedure, which is fine. Target schema you can provide for the runtime object. So we'll give underscore sys underscore BIC. You can give any schema name, your own schema name also you can provide, and we'll click on finish. So in advance, if you want to see, it's just from the template. So I have not used this. I don't know what exactly this template means. Maybe there is a template already there and you want to create from that template, but I have not used it, so I'm not sure on this. So we'll just minimize this and we'll click on finish. Now again, similar to the table function, this will give you the basic, what should I say? The basic skeleton of the database procedure, which is procedure, the schema name, and the procedure name, which is basically your package name. This is our package. This is the sub package, and double colon the actual procedure name. Okay, so we'll keep this handy. This we will use it in our access job. So I'll copy this and I'll keep it here handy. Okay, and then we will write some code. So what is the code you can write in a procedure? You can write your looping, you can write your expressions, you can write your SQL statements. So what is the purpose? In our case, the purpose is to run those scripts which populates the data into our staging tables, because we want to refresh the staging tables with new data coming from S4. So what we'll do is we'll quickly go to the file Okay, we should have the file actually here itself. We'll go to SQL script because we saved those SQL script. Virtual table creation, we'll open that, because in this we are also creating staging tables. Okay, we are creating the actual staging tables. So what we'll do is we will say select all. Okay, and then we will say copy, and we'll go to the procedure and we'll just paste the SQL statements here. Okay, so there are some errors. Let's look at some errors. What does it say? Schema is incorrect or misplaced. Create schema statement. Can I execute a create schema statement inside a procedure? Is it possible? Anyone? No. So there are certain statements you can run inside a procedure, and there are statements you cannot run inside a procedure. And one of the example is create and grant, security related. And if you are doing a schema creation, all those things are not possible inside a procedure unless you are using a dynamic SQL. Dynamic SQL is a separate way to execute certain statements inside a procedure. But right now we are talking about just simple pure SQL script, not dynamic SQL. So we cannot run these statements inside the procedure. So let's get rid of them. Okay. Now is it okay? Do you think we can run all these statements also inside a procedure?
No, drop, I suppose, will not work.
May I know your name? Who's that?
Satish here.
Satish. Okay. So you are saying that drop is not possible. Okay. How to know that? The best way to know it is, let's activate. Let's try to activate the procedure. If it is not allowed, then it will throw me an error. Okay. So let's activate. Okay. So activation completed with errors. What is the error? DDL are not supported in a read-only procedure. So data definition is not possible in a read-only procedure. So that means, is there anywhere I'm saying this is a read-only procedure or this is a read-write procedure?
Yes. You are saying read SQL data.
Correct, exactly. So if it says reads SQL data, that means it is a read-only procedure. You cannot have statements like insert, update, truncate, delete, etc. Okay, because it's a read-only, so you can only have a select. But if you want to make this as read-write, then you delete the read-only as the complete clause, get rid of the clause. The moment you get rid of the clause, but you have to keep as, okay, as is mandatory. But reads SQL data, if you get rid of it, meaning you are making this procedure read-write. Now you can have truncate, you can have your update, you can have your insert, etc. Okay, now let's try to activate. Okay, again it failed. It says DDL statements other than, let's see what it says. DDL statements other than create, drop, table are not supported in procedure line 10. So it says create. Create is possible. Then why is it failing at line 10? Anyone? See, you just saw that it said create is possible, drop is possible.
It's something to do with the virtuality.
Exactly. Yes. In the database procedure, you can deal with staging tables, not with virtual tables. In a simple SQL script like create virtual table is not allowed. Feature not supported for create virtual table. Okay, create is possible, but not create virtual. That is not possible. So we'll delete all the virtual table. And also in real time, you will not drop the virtual tables every time. Okay, that's not the real time scenario. So we will not need that. In fact, dropping the staging tables is also not done on a daily basis. Truncating the data is done, but not dropping the table. Okay. So we'll remove all the create tables first. Virtual tables, create virtual tables. Okay. So staging, this is virtual. This is virtual. This is virtual. And this is staging. Okay. Usually drop, we don't do it. Okay. We do truncate. But let's see if now we are allowed. This is all staging, right? Let's me do a find. Let's see if we have, sorry. Let's see if we have virtual written anywhere. Okay. Okay, this is fine. We are just creating the staging table from the virtual. Staging. Let me do a quick eyeballing. Staging, yes, correct. Okay, so now let's activate. Completed successfully. So create, drop, select, insert, update is all allowed as long as you get rid of reads SQL data. Okay, reads SQL data will force it to be read write, but if you remove it, it will be, sorry, reads SQL data will force it to be read only. Removing it will make it read write. Now again, drop table you will not usually do. I'm just showing here for demonstration purpose so that you know what is allowed, what is not allowed inside a procedure. But in a real time, you will not do drop table. You will say truncate table so that only data is dropped, not the entire table. That is the difference between truncate and drop. Drop will delete the table. Truncate will keep the table and just clean the data. That means it will remove the data. That's all. So if you want, when you do this, oh, by the way, one more thing. People have been asking me, give us assignments. Okay, why are you not giving us assignments at the end of each class? Please note that whatever I'm doing on the screen is your assignment. I'm not going to give you separately assignment 1, 2, 3, 4. Whatever I'm doing hands-on on the screen, we have created CVs of dimension type. We have created CVs of cube type, cube with star join. We have played with input parameters. We have mapped them. We have created table function. Whatever I'm doing is your assignment. Please mimic those steps. Please try to do exactly what I'm doing. And that's going to be your assignment. Okay. So now your assignment here is, instead of drop table, try to change it to truncate table and see if it's working or not. Okay, do that. So we have activated database procedure. The database procedure is in here. Okay. S04H table materialization.hdb procedure. So it's ready. Now, if I want to run this procedure, okay, I can just copy this and I can also run this procedure in a SQL console. So if I go to this SQL and if I want to run the procedure, okay, I'll not make changes in this, but I would rather create just a fresh new SQL console. Okay, and then I will paste the code here. And just like table function, can I do a select star from this procedure? Will it run successfully, guys?
No.
Why not?
I think you have to call it. I suppose.
Use call statement.
How do you call a procedure?
Just say
Call
call
the
the
procedure name.
Correct. This select star from will not work. So try to run this. It will say invalid name of function or procedure. Even though I gave bracket, but still it does not run. How about a table function? Can I do a select star from a table function? Yes, I can definitely do a select star from a table function because that acts as a regular table. Of course, you have to put the brackets at the end, otherwise it will not. We saw that already. But for procedure, this will not work. For procedure, the correct statement is call. So you always call a procedure. Okay, let me remove this. From is also not required. Just call. Call statement will run this procedure, and what this procedure is doing, it is basically dropping your staging tables and then recreating the staging tables as a column table and materializing everything from the underlying table to this. Okay, so you can call it. I'm not calling it right now. Why? Because we did some data manipulation. Remember, we added for time dependency in ADRC, we added some data. So if I run this, it's going to override that and it's going to bring in the fresh data, which will not have the time dependency. So I'm not calling it, but this is the way you will call it. Okay. You can also comment out the ADRC, okay, just so that ADRC data is intact. So what we can do is, instead of commenting out everything, we can just do the ADRC commenting. So we will. How do we do multi-line comments? Let me ask Padmaja. Padmaja, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, Devanshu.
Yeah, how can you do multi-line comment? So if I want to comment 26 to line 29, how do you do that?
Is it a star, like a front slash star?
Yes, correct. Slash star. Okay. So you type slash star and click on enter, and then where you want to end it, you will do opposite, star slash. Okay. So that is multi-line comment. So you have commented only the ADRC part, but remaining part you kept it as it is. Why I'm doing it? Because ADRC I want to retain the data because we did some manipulation there. Okay. Now let's activate this procedure because we made some change. So activate it, and now let's call this procedure. Okay, I'll clean this. So it's still running. Okay, in the background you can see the green bar, progress bar, bottom right, and it says statement call executed successfully in 6.8.755 seconds. Server processing time is this much. Rows affected 20,460. So this is the total number of records which was added to all the tables in the staging. Okay, so this is manually running the procedure. But what if you want to run this procedure every day? How do you schedule the procedure? So to schedule the procedure, we have something called access jobs in native HANA. Okay, it's called access job. So similarly, similar to calculation views, we created a file. These are all files, guys. Okay, I refer to them as all repository files because they are all, at the end of the day, they are all files with calculation view with the extension HDB calculation view, stored procedure with the extension .hdb procedure, table function with HDB table function, etc. Right? Similarly, you have to create a file for access jobs. So let's first create a package. As a best practice, you should always create separate packages for separate types of artifacts. So we'll create new package for access jobs. So we'll go to repository package. We'll say dot xs_jobs. Okay. We'll click on next. Access stands for extended application services. And then English United States, which is fine. No structural. We'll click on finish. So package is ready now for the access job. So you minimize the calc view, minimize stored procedure. Now we'll create something called access job. So right click on this package, go to new, and then if you don't see access job, click on other and just type access job. Okay, the moment you type access job, there is something under SAP HANA application development. We have access job scheduler file. So you click on this, give the name z access job _ S04 H table materialization. Okay. The moment you hit on tab again, .access job is the extension for the access job files. Template is basic. You can have basic template or no template. I will go for basic template because it will give me the necessary skeleton. Okay. Click on finish. When you create an access job, you have three things which you have to provide. Okay. Let me quickly jump back to theory for a minute here. So for the access job, what you have to do is you have a format for access job. What is that format? The format is description of the access job in double quotes, colon, again in double quotes, the name. What is the description you want to give? Action in double quotes, colon, and then the name of the action. It can be a database procedure. It can also be a JavaScript function, which you can have in Access.js language. Then the third thing is schedules. Schedules means the frequency, again in double quotes, colon, and then schedules. If you have multiple schedules, they will be in the single brackets, comma, second schedule, comma, third schedule, etc. And then the schedule square brackets will close, and then final curly brackets will close. So it will start with a curly bracket, description, action, schedules, curly bracket closed, in a nutshell. Within schedules, it starts in the square brackets, and within the square brackets, if you have multiple schedules, they will be in single brackets, and then comma, next one, bracket closed, your square bracket closed, your curly brackets closed. This is the format of access jobs. Okay, access job file. And the schedules will have further two fields. One is again description, single quotes, same format, colon, and the name, actual description, what you want to give for that schedule. This is, you are giving the description for the schedule, not for the entire job. For the entire job, this is your description. And then the actual schedule is in the access cron format. Access cron comes from Unix and Linux world. People who are aware of access cron jobs will know that it is a Unix and Linux concept where you have 7 options or 7 fields to populate. Okay. What are those 7 fields? Those 7 fields are, first is for year, second is for month, third is for day number, -31 to +31. Then actually the day of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Hour, 0 to 23, minute 0 to 59, second 0 to 59. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 places are there. If you give star, everywhere if you give star, that means you are saying run this job every year, every month, every day of the week, every hour, every minute, every second. So you are saying run this job every second of every minute of every hour of every day of every month of every year. That is the format. Okay. So here we have, now coming back to the job we created, same thing now. You know now, curly bracket start, curly bracket end. The first column is description. Okay. Then it is action. Then it is schedules. So for description, we'll write a description. We'll say materializing S4 tables via virtual tables daily. This will be the description of your overall job. Then action, what is the action? Remember, I took down the name of the database procedure. This is your action. Action means the database procedure within double quotes. Everything should be within double quotes. Okay, this is my action. What is the action? The procedure. Please run this procedure. And what is the schedule? Description of the schedule is, say for example, I want this to be daily at 10 p.m. Okay, daily at 10 p.m. Only on Monday, to Wednesday. This is my job requirement. It should run only from Monday to Wednesday at 10 p.m. daily. So then you tell me if you understood the concept, then you tell me what should be the values. Shakti, please tell me the values of year. What should be the value of the year?
I guess it should be star.
Correct. It should be star because I'm not putting any restriction on which year it should run. It should run every year. What about my month?
It should be star as well.
Correct. What should be the day?
Day, that's where we have to mention Monday to Wednesday.
Yes, but the first day, is it alphabets or is it numbers?
It's numbers.
Numbers. So can you control Monday, Wednesday, Thursday with numbers?
I don't think so.
No, you cannot. So this is also star. Next, day of the week. Can you control Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday here?
Yeah, we can.
Yes, you can. So you have to say MON Monday colon Wednesday WED. It's a 3-digit, 3-letter, 3 alphabets. What you are saying is from Monday start and end on Wednesday. So from Monday to Wednesday, you can have the job run. Okay, so we have taken care of Monday to Wednesday. Hour. What is the hour?
I guess it should be 24 hours.
It is 24-hour format. Yes, correct. So what should be the value?
So 22.
Correct. 2200 hours. What should be the value for this minute?
0.
Yes, correct. What should be value for second?
Again 0.
Again 0. Absolutely right. So this is the format of access cron. Okay. What I'm saying is run it at daily 10 p.m. only Monday to Wednesday every year, every month at 2200 hours, which is my 10 p.m. Sometimes what will happen is this is basically your operating system time zone. If your operating system time zone is UTC and your local time zone is EST, okay, for example, you have to make sure this is UTC time because access cron, that means you're talking about operating system. These are operating system jobs. So make sure the time zone matches with the UTC if the time zone is UTC for your operating system. Check with basis guys, ask them what is the time zone of the operating system. If they say UTC, then and I'm in Canada right now, so UTC is 4 or 5 hours ahead of me. So if I have to say 10 p.m. here EST, this is 10 p.m. EST, okay, but the time in the operating system is UTC, so I have to add 5. So 10 plus 5 is what? 3. So I will say 300 hours. That means morning 3 o'clock as per EST, but actually it is running, sorry, morning 3 o'clock as per UTC, but actually it is running at 10 p.m. EST. So please make sure that you take a note of the time zone of the operating system. HANA database sits on Linux operating system, most likely. Okay. SUSE Linux. So the most common operating system is SUSE Linux. And please check with the operating system or basis guys, what is the time zone, and make sure you provide that particular time zone. But making like assuming that our operating system time zone and our local time zone is same, we will give 2200 hours. And if you have any parameters in your procedures right now I am running without any parameters, but similar to table function, you can have parameters for procedures also. And if you have parameter, then you have to provide another field which is called parameter colon, and then in the single brackets you will give the parameter value. But in our case, not the single bracket, curly brackets. Okay, this is curly brackets. So if there is parameter, you will give parameter value here. In our case, there is no parameter value, so I'll just give this. And now I want Mandeep, can you hear me? Oh, He's deliberately not speaking up. Huh? Let's see. Okay, Gabby. Gabby, are you there?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Sorry to put you on spot, but this is the way to wake you up. Gabby, tell me now. I have another requirement. Right now, I took care of Monday to Wednesday. Now my requirement is from Thursday to Sunday. It should run every hour between 10 and 12 p.m. or not 10. 5 p.m. to 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. It should run every hour from Thursday to Sunday. How will I do it?
Year-wise, it should be star.
Okay, first of all, there are multiple schedules now, correct? If there are multiple schedules, how do we differentiate between multiple schedules? Let's go back to our format. What is the format? If there are multiple schedules, okay, what do we do?
Put a comma after the brackets and start.
Yeah, this is actually my bad. This is a curly brackets, not single bracket. I'm sorry. Yeah, so what we'll do is we will copy this thing and we'll put a comma. We'll copy this back and now we will say hourly at, not at, hourly between 5 and 11 p.m. EST only on Thursday to Sunday. So now tell me, yeah, what should be the value of year?
Star.
Star.
Month should be star.
Correct. Exactly.
And the day should be star.
Yes.
It should be Thursday to Sunday. I mean, THU.
Correct. THU to
SUN.
SUN. Correct.
It's 5 o'clock. I think it's Susil and its operating system. I don't know if it is the same time.
But I have to say hourly. How do I say every hour?
Every hour. I think I should see the format once.
Correct. Okay, let's go to format. Oh, I should not show you this. Yeah, hour 0 to 23, minute 0 to 59.
0 to 23 it should be, I believe, because every hour it should run.
Yeah, so this is the time I'm mentioning. At what time? But how do I mention every hour?
Star.
So the way you give every 5 minutes, every hour is slash and the number at that particular place. So this is, let's say for example, if you want to run at every 5 minutes, then in the minute you will say that I want to run it every 5 minutes. So now between, and now I have to say between 5 and 11, right? So what I have to say is between, see, when we said between Thursday and Sunday, what format we used? Thursday to Sunday, right? Same format you have to use. So you have to say, okay. So this is the format. So star slash, you have to say every hour and 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. No, how should we give that? So 5 p.m. means 17. Okay. 17 to 11 p.m. means what? 23. So we are saying that between 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. you run, and what you have to run every hour you have to run. So let's see how can we give every hour. Yeah. Okay, there you go. It just says 0 and there's a lag, sorry about that. 0 and 0. Okay, so if you don't because hourly is stars what stands for hourly. Okay, hour. So if you just say 17 to 23, that means automatically it will take that between 17 to 23 every hour it has to run at 0 minutes and 0 seconds. So it will start at the first minute of that hour. As soon as the hour starts from 17, that is 5 to 11, it will do. Every hour it will run. And minutes you don't have to specify. The seconds you don't have to specify. If you want at 5th second, okay, of every hour, you can do this. At 10th minute of every hour it starts, you can do like this. Okay, but whenever there's a requirement of every 5 minutes, every 30 minutes, then you have to say like star 30 in the minutes. So within that hour also, every 30 minutes it will start. Now, assuming that it does not take more than 10 minutes, then every 30 minutes it will start. So within hour, it will run twice. So if you have that requirement, you can satisfy this. So with access cron format, you can satisfy any requirement, all types of frequencies you can satisfy. So we have 2 frequencies now. I'll remove this. So frequency is, one frequency is Monday to Wednesday at 10 o'clock and hourly between 5 to 11 on Thursday to Sunday is this format. So let's activate this. Okay, it says invalid file content. Okay, so there is an issue here. What is the issue? It says invalid file content. What is the problem?
The comma should not be there after access cron.
Oh, this one, right? Yeah, you're right. Maybe this is the problem. Correct. Good find. Good catch. Let's see. Okay, yes, completely successfully. Very good. Yes, so comma should not be there. Why the comma was there? Because we had parameters by default added, but we don't have parameters here. So this is the format. Now this is access job file created. Okay. Have we scheduled it? Actually, is the job scheduled? No, the job is still not scheduled. If you remember, if you're coming from a BW background, in process chain, what we used to do, we used to go to start node on the top. We used to give the date and time, and then we used to click a button called schedule the process chain, right? Similarly, here we have just given the name of the procedure and the schedules when it has to run, but we have not activated this job. The final step is to go on the access job portal. It's a web portal, just like our BW for HANA cockpit. You have to go to that access job portal and activate the job. That is the final step. When you click on activate, then actually your job is scheduled. Unfortunately, the access job portal is not working right now with Access Classic. It is working with Access Advanced, but Access Classic, it's not working here. There are some ports issues. So what I'm going to do is I'm quickly going to show you the screenshots. Okay, I have some screenshots which I took. So if you go to the material, inside material, you have access job scheduling folder. I have created that, and I have a PPT, PowerPoint. In that, we created that for the customer, okay, in Deloitte, but I'll show you quickly what we did so that you will know how it is done. So once your access job is created, you will go to access job dashboard, and that should be enabled. That is the prerequisite. So the access job dashboard should be enabled. And once it is enabled, then you'll have to, same thing, create a procedure, create an access project, create access job file. So that file and all we have already created. Okay. This is the access job portal online. So once you have the jobs, then you will have the portal. On the portal, you will see the frequency. See, same access cron format. Year, your month, your day of the week, your hour, your minute, your second. Here, it is saying 0 to 30 minutes, every 5 seconds you run it, something like that. Now here you have to activate your job. So this is the same thing which I also showed. So this is the final step. The final step is come on to the access job portal and then you have to schedule. So the status should say schedule. By default, status will be inactive. So you will have to activate it. There is on the right side, there will be a button and you will say scheduled. And finally, when you activate the job on the job portal, then it will be scheduled and it will run. Then you can monitor from the same Access job portal. You can monitor that this job is success or this job is failure, or how much time it took, what was the start time, what was the end time, what is the total seconds taken, etc. So on and so forth. So that is the final step what you have to take to activate the Access job. Okay. So what are the steps? Let's reiterate. Create a procedure, create an Access job file, provide the details, the schedules, etc. And then finally go to the Access job portal and you activate the job, and that is your scheduling part for Access jobs. Okay. I'm really sorry. We went way over time today. It's almost 11 o'clock. So we will stop the class now and we will enter into the post Q&A session. So thank you for attending. People who are not able to join the post Q&A, that's fine. You'll get the recording. But if you can't stay, you're more than welcome. So let me stop the recording for main class.